Hi ladies, this is Janelle Hinds. I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me last week to talk to you guys all. As a reminder, I'm the founder of Helping Hands as well as a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. I mentioned during my call about the business model canvas. And I think it's a really important toolkit, so I put together this slide deck. I'll kind of decided to make this video to kind of go through it and describe the different steps. I'll make sure that I send these slides to Jen so she can send them out to you guys. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. So what is the business model canvas? It's a one-page document that gives you an overview of your company. And you can almost take any business out there and put it on this one page. It's kind of quick. If you were talking to your friend, you can imagine this is how you might describe it. And you can both use it for your own company, or if you're within a company, you want to even launch a new product, like a specific product, you can make the business model canvas just for this. So let's say you're selling two very different things, you might even make a business model canvas for each of them. So it helps you focus. You don't have 40 pages. It tries to narrow it down and just strip away some of the very fine details. This is more of a quick overview. BJ! BJ! I don't know where I was. Okay. Ugh! So the business model canvas kind of helps you focus. You don't have 40 pages. You can really just focus in. It strips away a lot of the details. So it's not going to go into the fine numbers or anything. This is just a quick overview. But it's really flexible in that. So if you do have ideas, and it's really good for while you're brainstorming. So if you're like, hey, I need to change this, I don't think this idea is good, you can change all the different elements quickly that relate to that concept. So if you're like, hey, no, I no longer want this thing gold, I want it silver, that changes your price, then you can quickly change the different details across the board. And I actually think this is a really useful tool if you're bringing on business partners, employees. It's a great way to actually share with them and they can get an understanding of the business. And I really suggest kind of doing this before you do your business plan. And then once you kind of make the business model canvas, all those different sections turn into your business plan. So then you could quickly do this and then go and write it out in detail. Or even do it kind of alongside each other. This is a link to another video that kind of describes it, but I'm going to go through them. But if you want to hear a different explanation of the different sections, please do watch this video. So this is the business model canvas. It's this simple. It kind of breaks down and shows you these 9 different elements, and I'll make sure I go through them with you. But to understand, it's kind of broken down to feasibility, desirability, and viability. So desirability, do your customers actually want this product? Would anyone want this thing? I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen products out there and you're like, oh my God, yes, I love this thing. I can't live without it. I buy it all the time. So you can imagine toilet paper, like people need toilet paper. So it makes a very easy demand, but then, some people are willing to pay more for 2-ply or 1-ply or all these crazy stuff that they have now. Feasibility is, do you even have access to the things you need to build the business? So if, for example, right now you're trying to build a face mask company, do you even have access to the paper that you need, the specific paper you need to make the N95 mask, for example? So that's kind of feasibility. Do you have access to all the key requirements and resources and maybe people and partners that you need to do this? And the last part is viability. So can you actually make more revenue than it costs? So if decide to make your paper clips out of gold, obviously the cost is really high on that, and you're going to get a very low revenue because people aren't going to buy, pure gold paper clips. So the first part we're going to think about is your customer segments. So who are you serving? So for example, I remember one of the businesses was focused on sewing, alterations, children's clothes. So you can imagine, who are your different types of customers? I can imagine a big popular segment of a customer might be those that are looking for alterations because they have a big popular event coming up. So you can imagine prom time or wedding season, how popular sewing alterations are going to be. So you can customize your business for that type of customer. And then children's clothes and mothers is going to be a very different segment altogether. Imagine for the natural soaps example, different customers might be people with skin conditions who are preferring natural soaps. You can also imagine people who may be living that healthy, vegan, organic lifestyle would be a different customer segment. So you want to think of what are the different types of people that might want your product. The value proposition is then, what are you offering them? Why do they want it? Why do they care? Why would they want to buy your specific product? So you can imagine with Filipino food, they're looking maybe for something different, or maybe they really, really love a certain type in that cuisine. So that is their value prop to them, that you're providing them with good tasting Filipino food. So the channels is, how do your customers want to be introduced? So some of them might be as simple online. So if you're shopping for even the shirt, you can imagine some people want maybe to shop online, they want to browse, they want to see all the different colors that you have in store without having to leave their house, or some people want to come inside and actually buy it in person. So it might be in person, it might be online, it might be through Instagram. So think of what are the different channels of how you're reaching your customers, both for marketing and the sales. And the relationship. Some businesses, so especially imagine services. So if you're a wedding photographer, you have a really close relationship with your customer. You're talking to them about how they want their special day to look like, how, what poses you want to make sure they get in, what special moments, you want to make sure you capture. Versus if you're selling toilet paper, I have no relationship with Charmin toilet paper. I go into the store, I buy my product, and I leave. If I do have an issue, they do have a customer service number that I can call. So it's really important to remember, some businesses have a very close customer relationship, where some might be a little bit more distant because that's not needed for that business. So for revenue, so now we can start looking at revenue streams. So what are the customers actually willing to pay for? So you can imagine if you're doing fair trade imports, there's going to be, if I'm looking at product A, I'm just going to imagine I have this piece of cloth and it costs, $5 per square meter, but if it's fair trade, now it's $10. So you have to think really how much more and how many of customers are actually willing to maybe pay for that premium. And is it a one-time purchase that your customers are doing, or is it reoccurring? So I'll show you some examples of what this will look like. So you can imagine if you're buying razors, there's razors where, you buy them and you just throw the whole thing away, but there's ones where the arm is really important and you're just putting the little replacements on it. So that is something that you're constantly buying. So now we're going to kind of go over to the feasibility side, because that kind of focused on desirability and then viability from the customer perspective. So from now the other side, so if you look at the right and the left, you can kind of notice there's also that divide. So what resources do you actually need? So if you're doing the clothing and sewing, you can imagine that's the sewing machine, that's the different types of materials, your threads. You can imagine that if you are, same thing with the textile, if you're doing the smoked fish and dried meat, dried fish, then your most important resource is the smoked and dried fish. So which ones are essential? If you're, a technology company, then your computers and your servers are going to be really important. So what are the things that you actually have to do? So are you smoking the fish yourself? If so, you're just buying fish and then smoking them, then that's a key activity you have to do in order to do it. The alterations, the actual activity of doing the alterations. Then you have key partners. So which are important things that you need? So let's say I wanted to sell healthy lunches to schools. Then my key partner, as well as my customer, are going to be the schools, but knowing that maybe if the schools within them have, like a healthy lunch monitor, then I'm going to build a relationship also with that person to make sure that they're happy with the service I'm providing them. Or you might have something where there's a specific supplier, so you're selling fireworks, then your relationships are going to have to be with the only people who are registered and allowed to sell fireworks. And then the last part is on the cost structure. So what are the things that you actually have to pay for in order to get it? So the cost of your dried meat, the cost of your fair trade import, what does that cost compared to what people are willing to pay for? So I'm going to go through some examples that you guys can use to make sure that you kind of understand exactly what this is now in practice. So I'm actually going to hopefully give you guys a second. I'll quickly look at this, bring up some stuff, and you tell me, or think while you're watching this, what company is this? So their customer segment is mass customer, so they don't really have a specific customer in mind. There are a lot of people that want this type of product. It's not a niche, only a very small segment of a segment of a segment want this. So the relationship with them is they're going to look at value proposition. People like their blades and their razor handles, that they're interchangeable. So because they're buying this razor handle, they're built, they're locked in. If they want to buy more, they're more willing to buy more blades. They don't want to now have to go buy a new razor handle. Their channels are retail, so you get them just in the normal stores. The revenue is based on an expensive handle purchase, or sometimes actually inexpensive handle purchase, and then constantly different blade replacements. And one thing you'll notice is that the value proposition is kind of split in the middle. It's right there in the middle because it's kind of both important for the desirability as well as the feasibility. So it's kind of, if you notice in the previous one, when it was cut, it was put into both. So key activities that this company would do is they do marketing, they do research and development, they're constantly trying to see how they can improve these razors, and then logistics. How are they actually shipping them out to all the retail stores? Their key resources is their brand. People know this name, they have patents so other companies can't actually copy them. And their key partners are their manufacturers. They need to make sure that their manufacturers are building this product to the quality that they expect, as well as the retailers. If I'm selling a product, I do not want to get Loblaws or No Frills mad at me. So their cost structure, you would look at, as we mentioned, their key activities. So if it's in their key activities, it probably has a cost to it. So their marketing, their logistics, their R&D, as well as their manufacturing. So any guesses what company this is? It's Gillette Razors and Blades. So you can kind of see, you can get a quick overview. This company is owned by either P&G or Unilever, but this is for one of their products, just what it would look like. So this one, the customer, I think it's easy to just kind of look at the customer segment first. So you have two different customer segments you can see here. So they have hosts, so people who own a house and want to make extra money, and people who want to meet new people. And then guests are people who love to travel and people who want to stay comfortably somewhere at a cheap price. So now what is the value prop for those hosts? Those hosts, they can earn the money by renting their space, and the company would offer insurance to them. So you guys can kind of maybe get the guess that this is Airbnb. They also, so you kind of go through and look at the revenue. So they get money both from the host and the guest. And for them, their costs, they don't own these houses. Their costs are really their technology part, the things for the salaries for those employees, and then maybe at the beginning they actually used to hire photographers to go out and take the pictures of the house. So really early on, they would that was one of their high cost. Some of their key resources is they actually need those hosts. Like there's no Airbnb without people to put their house out there. So those also key partners, their resource, and they're both a resource. So things can be duplicated. For them, it's also really important that they're getting software developers that are able to build the Airbnb platform. So that's a key resource as well. And for them, Airbnb was only able to grow because they were able to get investors. For them, that's a key partner. They need to make sure that their investors stay happy so they keep investing and the company can keep growing. And you can even go back if you look at channels. There's their website, there's their app for both iOS and Android. So those are key channels of how customers interact with Airbnb. And they interact on social media as well as email. And there is the customer service line that you can access. So you can kind of see how you can see a whole company's overview on the business model canvas. So this is a description. You can take some time, you could read it, and this is kind of what we have as my standard 100-word description of what Helping Hands is. And this is what kind of the business model canvas. So this is an older version that I made back in 2017. And this kind of breaks down. For me, I had 3 different customer segments. I had educators, students, and charities and nonprofits. And I kind of described for each of them, and you can see how there's different colors. So a key tip, if you do have different customer segments, kind of color code it. And each of those customers might have different ways that you have relationships with them. So the way I have a relationship with a teacher is very different than how we would service a student. So the first part is for us is we say we have these, one of our customer segments is educators, so teachers, schools that want our software to help them track their students. The students, so we talked about students who are struggling to figure out where to volunteer. They're one of our customer segments, as well as the charity nonprofits who are struggling looking for volunteers. So the relationship with the educators is that we're going to do monthly check-ins with them. The students, they can message us on customer service whenever they need it, and kind of with charities, same thing. We might just do monthly or quarterly check-ins with them. Then we have the educators. So why do educators care for this? And what you can write is, I have made, or this company has made or developed, whatever word you want, and kind of write that sentence. So we have developed X for Y because Z. So we have developed an online platform that facilitates volunteer matching, tracking, saving the administration time and effort. So what we developed and why they care. The students, we developed an online platform, same thing, but it matches them with organizations using a skill development model that provides them with valuable employable skills and replaces the paper-based system, saving them time. So very similar, but different value propositions. As far as some of our key activities is making the app, reaching out to teachers, coordinating with the nonprofits. So for us, the software engineers, people that are able to do marketing are important. And even little things like we had to pay attention is do we need Canadian servers? What I'll do is you can kind of go through, and I broke it down to desirability, feasibility. And again, if you have multiple segments, use different colors. And you also notice that students are missing from the revenue, so not all of your customer segments might be paying. We expect the schools to pay on behalf of the students. So you can kind of go through, this is an example. You have Facebook, Twitter, Google, and you can kind of see how they might have different segments as well. So Facebook both has advertisers, the users, as well as developers, and the relationships with those are different. The internet users, they're free, but the advertisers pay. Same thing with Twitter. Google has a different product, so this one's a little focused both on Google search as well as some of the Google apps. but not everything that Google does, because it is a large organization. So you can imagine LinkedIn, they have internet users, but they also have recruiters and advertisers. So those relationships with a recruiter looks different. So recruiters want to use this because they want to find talent. The internet users, aka people, are job looking to either look for a job or build their network. So those relationships look very different. So you can take some time and even Google other examples online of what business model canvases look like. Again, they're very useful for making sure that you understand the quick overview of a business, and all of this could be transformed into your business plan. So take a time, spend an hour to brainstorm, put all the ideas. You can use sticky notes if you want, put it up on your wall. And that's why I loved this design, and just start thinking about what are the different elements that are required for your business. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. It was great getting to talk to you guys, and I look forward to hopefully getting to talk to you guys in the future. Bye now.